Hi guys. So today I want to talk a bit about nihilism. The last two videos I was talking more on the political landscape and what kind of the depressing state we're at right now. And yeah, I just wanted to talk a bit about it, and especially today I had a really mentally rough day, and yeah, so I feel kind of obligated to talk a bit about it because in the end it's getting a bigger phenomena right now. Nihilism is like the unwritten religion that's kind of taking over a lot of people's minds, and I think especially the ones who try to think, try to figure out their way, and not just running on that track, and going that way. They're trying to see around, they're trying to observe, and you can just feel, that I don't know, if you go outside, if you go somewhere, I know sometimes it just feels so lifeless. People don't talk with each other anymore so much, your interactions with the cashier, at the cash out, when you're at the grocery store, it's just getting trimmed down and trimmed down. Um, yeah, also, I mean, it's just so many factors, right? So many factors that make life hard for most people. The time is getting more and more expensive. And also with the political landscape and stuff, people maybe also somewhat like the distance. We don't want to talk to everyone. We don't have that community feeling anymore. That we're all somewhat on the same side, right? And yeah, also just I think a lot of insecurity with the other people, and yeah, and what is happening, right? I think the problem is in the end, nihilism, right, is that you believe in nothing. That's just if you break it down. And I got my nihilistic face, and I'm still in it, I think. But I remember when I was getting 18, and I got like really into political landscape, and I was kicked out from my mom's house, so kind of had to figure out, I had to figure out the way where I'm going, what I want to do with my life, where I want to find my place, what are the goals I want to work for, and I don't know, it kind of bothered me. And what bothered me even more was like no one of the people I knew in my age, they had like no issue at all. Like the one guy was, going for a year to Taiwan. The other one was, you know, going to work. Like they all found like that little stuff that they want to do. Like, and the ones that didn't know, they just go to college and eventually university. Which I right now don't know what they're doing, right? But like from all the people I knew, from my school class, like they all found their way, you know. And I don't know, it kind of bothered me because I felt like, oh my god, maybe because I was, going into politics and that the world is shit, and I was coming to the suspicion that maybe I'm the issue. And of course, it made me even more nihilistic, right? Because I felt like my assumptions of the world, and of course, I mean, with 18, it's just 5 years or 6 years ago, right? But still, I was very young. It was like the first time I was really on my own, and yeah, and also had to make my mind up by myself. I hadn't had much friends after school because I got very depressive, and I had like one I was like really close. We were like best buddies, and yeah, in the end I got really depressive, start to thinking a lot more, spending less time on the computer and stuff, and I wanted to talk with him a lot, and he wasn't into it too much. He just couldn't relate to it. um and even though we're in a somewhat same position, I feel like, because we're both gamer dudes, we were both thin as fuck, we were both outcasts, outsiders, and like from the seventh grade until the 10th, so like for 3 4 years, we had just this big relationship where we just for me, I guess, also because I had very much trouble at home, he not so much. um But yeah, it was for me really helpful to get through the last years of school. And for him, I don't know, maybe, maybe not, right? But in the end, we did everything together, right? And yeah, it was a fun time, you know. Was like the best friend or the closest I really got to a person. And we were just at one point we were just so on the same wavelength, you know. We were both like YouTube grinding. We were both into the gaming thing. You know, I was more into the shooter guy, FPS. He was more the League of Legends guy. Um, but yeah, we also played some Ark together. You know, and we found our things that you know where our similarities were. I remember playing like Clash Royale. Always when we were at his house. Yes, he had a house. Or not he, but his parents, of course. And yeah, I know. I just that was such a fun time, you know. Just you know, getting drove by my mom or his mom. You know, we go to his house. You know, play a bit in the garden, maybe with some Nerf guns or hide and seek. I know. Yeah, sometimes something like that, and then we just chill on the couch. You know, eat chips and cornflakes and play like Clash Royale the whole day. And also we had like times where we just I remember we found out like it was like I don't know, midnight or something, and we found a new game that has just published and was like, I don't know, like a weird tower defense game or something, and we grinded that through the whole night, you know, and we were like on the top leaderboard, just below the guys who instantly paid in the game, and I don't know. We had fun times, but in the end, it broke, and maybe it broke because of me. I was really pushy. I was really demanding because in the end, he was the only person I really trusted. He was the only person I really was close to, and and I couldn't talk with my mom about it, you know, because like yeah, just like I think my mom was just a bit part of the depression, you know, because she could somewhat understand and somewhat she just didn't understand. And in the end she just you know, she does what every human would do, you know. They themselves, they think they have a solution, and yeah, and that's it. And sometimes, you know, people can tell you a solution that can just really hurt you. And it's like if you're depressive, you know, and then your mom tells you, yeah, you're not a man, you know, you need to go to work. um which there's a truth in that for sure, but yeah, I don't know. Didn't help me too much, and I had that shitty job at the ice cafe thing, and that also just yeah. I think I don't even know what time I got. I quit that job, but I think when I was in that really depressive state, and I was living my own thing, I was like a couple of years behind that, and yeah, I don't know, and yeah, in the end, you know, I was very alone. I knew nobody from my school school and shit anymore. I had like no friends and was stuck in that one single room apartment, um, thinking about life, thinking about everything, you know. And in the end, I got really nihilistic, right? Because there was no belief, and I've saw no belief, and all the people I knew they had no belief, or I felt like everyone was just going along with the system, you know. If it would be like the most normal thing in the end, and maybe I think I'm just really fucked up in that way that I got raised from my mother in that way that I've started to think about stuff way too early. So my consciousness just had more energy to develop, just more room to develop than other parts of my thing. And my mom was really trying to fight the egoism in me. Like when I remember when I was small, she was always like, "Oh, you're so egocentric, and you know, you think you're the center of the universe and shit." And she was like really fighting that out of me. And you could say that's good parenting to a certain degree, but it was a bit too good parenting, you could say, because in the end, she killed my ego. I have like no interest in myself and doing something with myself. And like, you know, when I talk to people, they're often like, you know, maybe do this, maybe do that, but in the end it's about, focus on yourself, don't focus too much on the others. But that's just not how I'm programmed. That's just not how I'm working. And you know, back then and also now, like I have so little of social interaction, so little of strings that hold me in my place. I could do anything I want, you know. I could do, I don't know, I could do anything if I really want to earn a lot of money. Um, I got some ideas where I should go, but that's not the point for me. I don't want to have a lot of. I mean, I want, I guess, to have a lot of money would be nice, but there is like that would be a nice like a nice reward to have like a lot of money if you do something nice. And I think a bit utopian in that way, but I just wanted to for myself. I mean, especially if you're American, you're listening. I know it's tough competing life out there. You don't have like a social state or something. You know, I know you get a pretty different mentality when you push into a system like that where you just have to work. You just have to work, or yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It felt so hard to find like any interest. And also I did like had like my psychologist and stuff, right? Because I was getting to a point where I was getting so nihilistic that my father was talking a lot about Christianity, and I despised it. When I was getting into that nihilism, I really despised Christianity, and especially if you look into Nietzsche a bit, you see that um, nihilism is just a reaction to the modern Christianity, or maybe just to Christianity at whole, because it's not such a good religion. If you think about it, it praises more the dead than the living. It's almost a bit like the left side, where it's just delusional at some points, where just key features of life are just misrepresented and ordered in a different way. So let's say if I go into the church and I tell him, I've suffered for so long, my upbringing was so bad and whatnot, and they would tell me, hey, it's all right, because the more you suffer, the more you will get in paradise and shit, or stuff like that. Because the Christians, they like the suffering, that's something good. If you suffer, that means you're one of the good guys. And I think that's just the biggest misconception, that the victims are always on the right side, even though it's not stated how they became the victim. It doesn't matter, as long as you're the victim, you're the good one. Yeah, which is not the case. I wouldn't say that because I'm suffering or whatever, that I'm better than everyone else. I'm just not. I'm a pretty lazy guy. I got my problems as well, right? And I know that I'm egocentric and shit like that. And like, even though my mother fought fought it a lot in me, I still can observe, of course. And in the end, it was just, when I was taking the drugs and shit, I kind of revisited everything. I kind of tried to yeah, just teach life myself again, from a fresh start. And don't be so biased on everything like my mother was. Because for my mother was like, always there's something bad and there's something good. And I mean, it would have worked if it would be clear what is bad and what is good, but it changes. Of course, it changes how my mother wanted to perceive it. And that's how most people deal with it. They have that, yeah, that little, I don't know how you want to say it, right? They have that Jedi in themselves. They want to, they think that there are the Sith out there and the Jedi, the good and the bad guys. And only if the Jedis win against the bad guys, then the balance is achieved, or something like that. If you think about it, makes no sense. Like, like, I mean, it's like Hitler going to power, erasing all yeah, other opinions and shit like that, and then saying, yeah, no, it's balanced out. It just goes against the whole idea against balanced out. Yeah, I know, and I think that's also just the biggest part of nihilism, that the religions and beliefs we have right now are just so back in time. They're just so far behind, and Christianity as well. Like, even though you could say, oh yeah, it's they're more discreet. They're more what the West might seem as civilized. A lot of these civilized geishas and stuff like that came from Christianity, and it has its good things for sure, right? But I think, like, the good mensch, right? Also from Nietzsche, right? The good mensch, the guy who thinks of himself that he's morally superior, because he thinks, he has some double moral. The nuclear power plant is, I think, best example for a good mensch, right? They hear in the media, our power plants are bad, and then they go to the demonstration and say with all of the others, nuclear power plants are bad, because it's obvious that they're bad, right? Because, I mean, it's uranium. It's fucking uranium, man. It's like the same shit they put in the big bombs, in the stuff that I don't want to see. And they make like a ton of nuclear waste, right? Where should that go, man? And just think about, like, what in 1,000 years, people accidentally open up these storages of nuclear waste. What's gonna happen to them? We gotta think about all that stuff. And or not even think about it. Maybe just ban them. That's the easiest move. Just ban them, and you don't have to think about it. Yeah, yeah, and it's like really close-minded, and also yesterday I was talking with a friend of mine, and yeah, and I asked him, if he, what should we do different, because we talked a bit about the AFD thing, and he's like, not too much, but somewhat against the AFD, and I'm trying to debunk the propaganda a bit, just to that we maybe can find in the middle somewhere, because of course the suspicion, of the one party system coming to Germany through the AfD, even though it might be not justified too much in the sense of the AfD, that the AfD might do that, the fear is still justified, right? Because the Germans still need to learn what happened, and I think, now we're getting into politics already again, but I guess that's the way it is. Personally, I think, if we somewhat revisit that time with a sober mind state, and actually see what went good, what went shit, why it went shit, and I think that's the only way to process that, to, yeah, just mm, leave it behind, leave the fear behind, and in the end, it's like being traumatized, right? Let's say you're a child, and you go into the roller coaster, and it's like the first time you're like throwing up, right? Because, like, you had like no idea, and then you'd never want to be on the roller coaster again, right? Because you were like 6 years old, you threw up, everyone was looking at you, feel like really ashamed and whatnot, and you said to yourself, I will never ever ever go on the roller coaster again. It's just shit. There's just nothing good in it. Um, Even though you're completely suppressing, that not everything was bad, that and stuff like that. And how do you heal that up, right? If you grow older, if you understand, if you have if you just understand, right, that what is happening in yourself, that you're just traumatized because you were a child, you were unprepared. It could have been a fun experience, but you were unprepared, and you threw up, and you healed it up in with realizing that being an adult man, or maybe, I don't know, a teenager or something, and going into that roller coaster again, and of course you have the fear that you will throw up again, but you do it one time. You get the strength together to do it one time, and then you have the ability to prove yourself, because if it works, then you instantly have like 50-50 evidence, 50% evidence, which used to be 100%. And now you see, just by doing it one more time, that also can be different. That you know, going to roller coaster, and it's also that you you can observe that with other people. It's not like everyone who's going into a roller coaster throwing up. It's a thing that can happen for sure, but maybe just as the part of the risk. I think the Americans will understand that. Hopefully, I mean, you have no problem with going with your own interests. And I said it in my first or second video that you're somewhat of the Roman Empire for me. And with your Trump, you're also like acting like it. You're not always doing some bullshit. You know your strength. And you know that you can do stuff. And people, especially here in Berlin, I think, hate the Trump guy and hate the way, and because they're saying, yeah, he's like a fascist, right? And yeah, I mean, he is. I think he is, and I think it's not too bad. At least not for the Americans. Also, there's of course a lot of people saying, yeah, Trump is fucking over the poor Americans because he's like claiming he will, the food prices will be lower, but they probably won't, and stuff like that. But I mean, you can't have everything. I think, right? And in the end, if you vote the corrupt liberals or the corrupt conservatives, I mean, in that part, I think they don't do too much interest the difference. Like only if you vote for Trump, you also have like at least you have like that yeah, outside politic thing that is handled at least quite well, or not quite well, but dominant, you would say. Yeah, whatever. Okay, we got way off track again with politics. Of course, why not? But yeah, back to nihilism, and yeah, it's just identity crisis, right? Because for me, I just take myself now. I mean, the person I know the best, I guess. I have like no, I have like not much interest in myself and in finding identity. I have identity, I have like hobbies and shit. It's not like that I'm an completely NPC. I went out, I took the drugs, I listened to a lot of music and whatnot, and uh, I did experiences to see what I like and what I don't like, and probably it's an infinite process, but I did somewhat my job. It's not like that. I'm just an empty husk or something, or empty hull, or what you said, and yeah, but still, I'm not interested. I'm just living for myself, just living as an individual. Um, Also, I think a big part is that I lost the biggest part of my family. Um, the reasons are probably they don't matter too much. Just at the point that it's not like it used to be like 50 years ago. That you have like one house as a family. And like every one of your families living in that house. That you have like the oldest ones in the attic. Then the older ones and the younger ones. And they're all like having like an endless cycle in that one house. And yeah, and that's just really far away. So the family thing is just not too much of a thing, especially I think with all the capitalism and money thing, and the splitting, yeah, that you have like the left and the right, and you also have like the spiritual people, the vegan people, and whatnot, right? You have so many movements, so many shit, because like everyone is sick, everyone is so sick, and everyone wants their cure, everyone wants their quick fix. And I think nihilism is just for the emotionally, I wouldn't say unavailable, but I mean, you can type it in your comments if you're a nihilist yourself, or you've been into that and you had like a phase. Would you call yourself in that phase that you had like a good relation to your own emotions, that you could actually feel something? And I think the market for nihilism for the people who get so numb, that like where the veganism and even maybe the spiritual thing or Christian thing or whatever movement, whatever quick fix, when it just doesn't have anything to grab. It's like propaganda, you know. Propaganda needs to grab something to propagandize the people. Just for example, the left is doing it, you know, saying that the AfD are Nazis, you know, and 30% of this country are just Nazi followers, you know, and they will bring the Dark Ages again and stuff like that. And then the people have their emotion, their fear, the German fear, you know, that we all got taught in school that we need to not be, not allow that to happen that again. And also, of course, the right does that thing as well, right? With saying like, yeah, the immigrants are the problem, right? And it's both just it has some truth to it, right? But just a really selected thing, and it in the end, yeah, it just tries to lock on your feelings, and as well as nihilism, and that's what I've also noticed, like when my nihilism thing was like kind of fading a bit, that I just realized why I was getting so nihilistic, why I gave so much into that. And yeah, because even though you're not right now feeling your own feelings or can't see them or can't, you know, understand them, you have them. You have your feelings, and they may be really, really deep down and maybe really, really suppressed. And maybe it will just take a lot of time or some drugs or whatnot to get these feelings out, not out of you, but more on the surface again, so you can observe them again, so you can feel them again. Yeah, and I think in the end it's the feeling of hopelessness, the feeling that the world is just getting mad and mad by every hour. And especially I think if you're a single guy in my age, you know, you have a phone and you're on the internet, on social media and whatnot, it's just really hard to don't get down, drained, hopeless. You know, it's just pre-programmed. You know, especially if you're on Instagram or something. You know, and you have like that thing that other people, you know, have like trying to push their lifestyles on you, like constantly seemingly showing you how it's done, right? When you in the end, no one knows what to do. And the only thing that people can praise is focus on yourself. Don't care about the others, don't care about politics, or not too much, right? And focus on yourself. Focus on your own feelings, focus on your own career, focus on what you want to have. And that's a part of life, for sure. But, you know, it's not like that everyone is a lone wolf or supposed to be a lone wolf, you know. Life is not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to have like a community feeling, neighbors, you know, family, people that you feel somewhat of a collective with, you know, that you're not just living for yourself, you're living for your community as well, for your family. But what happens if all of that is gone? When you have no collective and stuff like that, no people to associate with, you just get down to you like into your own bubble, and in the end become really egocentric, and and you can see it as a good or as a bad thing. Right now, personally, I think I don't want to judge that too much, because in the end it's just it's just the only option, right? And I think that's something that I've somewhat realized for myself in my nihilistic phase, that either you become a corporate asshole, or you become a sheep that just goes along, or you just fucked for life. And of course, that's a nihilistic, or like not nihilistic, but just a really depressing thought, you know, that either you become an asshole or you will always be treated by assholes, you know. Uh, yeah, and of course, yeah, the idea that there's no family, if for me now, you know, there's no family left. Like the neighbors, I didn't know them. You know, my mom was just moving every couple of years because shit was also not going too good for her. So I never get like a true root, you know, I could say. And I was born in Berlin and I lived here for my first 6 years, and now I'm back. But and I also just live in the same streets I was growing up, and I somewhat feel good with that. It somewhat feels familiar, but it doesn't feel like family or something. Especially because everyone is so left here, you know. Um, Yeah, but in the end, it's just hopelessness, and especially because yeah, there's no good religion, there's no up to date religion that actually tries to handle our modern problems. You just have these outdated old religion, and Christianity is just as outdated as the Islamic shit or whatnot. They are somewhat the same. They are somewhat the same, and also if you're into like other religions, ask yourself where they're coming from. Why were they implemented, and especially with Christianity, you can see that. What Christianity did, right, in the Middle Ages and stuff like that, and around that time in Europe, Christianity was you could say like I don't know if you let's say you have like in America like black rail workers, in the 1930s or something that are imprisoned and still need to put together a railway system and get like worked to death or something, and Christianity is like the work songs they play, it's just so the people can get through. The people on the top, they don't care about Christian morals. They might seem like they want to or something like that, but in the end, like they don't give a shit, man. Because especially the people at the top know that God is dead. That God is just the invention to maybe keep us motivated enough, to keep us still believing, to keep us at the point where we can't really take it, but every day we still believe that we take it on for something that will be worth it. And if you have family and stuff, that can work. That can also work in a neat way. But I have no family. I have not a good expectations to find a woman and maybe get kids. I don't have a good expectation to have like a career and get a house or something. I'm still young. I could still work on that, right? But I mean, I'm sitting here, unemployed, smoking weed, thinking about all that bullshit because that's basically all I knew. And yeah, all I grow into, right? And you could make money with that. There are people who make money with thinking about stuff and talking about it, I guess, or writing it down or something. Philosophers, for for an example, right? And yeah, but do you have the feeling that someone like me is actually needed? I mean, I'm not, am I? I feel like when I see Instagram, when I see the people work, and when I see the people from my old class, how they are doing their life, I feel like they're all doing fine, man. They're all doing fucking fine. So why should I even bother? Why should I even? Why am I bothering? You know, why do I get the feeling that the world is just getting more depressive and depressive every day when other people seem to do just fine? And of course, you could have asked, doubted myself a lot. That is just myself reflecting it on the outside. That I think that the world is just like me. That the world was like happy in 2012 or until 2012, and until then just went down shit. And that's a really hard thing to observe and to keep um, it in two sides, right? How yourself are changing and how the world is changing, and not to mix it up too much, because it can correlate, right? It can have an influence on each other, especially the state of the world and how it's changing, and your state of changing. But yeah, in the end, it's just what do the people believe in? And I mean, like the thing is, I think like nihilism is like having cancer. It's not nice, and you want to cure it as fast as possible. But we just live in a time that is just so open for nihilism. And it's for a lot of people the best thing you can do. Especially, if you're like a person that doesn't care too much about the others and just you want to get your own shit together, then nihilism might be a thing, for a couple of years to get you going. But in the end, we people we need to believe in something. That's how we've always worked. Think about, I mean, it's not like that we've been living like this right now for thousands of years. No, we haven't. Like 90% of our or 80% of our time we've been living as cavemen, in little tribes. We had a leader, and Our work was, yeah, everyone was like playing a crucial role, and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe as a thought experiment, just think about, how the humans came to what they are, and how we used to live, and how just our modern life is just not giving us anything of that. I don't believe my leaders. I'm not worth something. I mean, I guess I'm worth something, but you get what I mean. I'm exchangeable. And the people I'm around, they don't believe in anything. Just like me, they don't believe in anything. They might think they're Christians or something, but in the end, what are they believing in? Now, okay, and then of course, I don't want to just rant about it and just say everyone is shit. Let's ask ourselves, what could be the cure? What should we believe in? And for me, it's the thing I always wanted to believe in. It's the people. I want to believe in the people, in us. And yeah, that's not easy, man. It's not easy, and it's borderline impossible to believe in the people, because like of course, like I know it is inside everyone, that unhappiness, that silent knowledge of how fucked up this all is. We they know it, but they cannot express it, and because they need to go on. They need to keep moving. Man's gotta eat. Maybe your kids gotta eat. Life's not easy. Life is work. Life is a lot of work. If you want to have a life worthy life, living worthy life, you gotta do a lot of shit to get your standards, to get your house. You can raise your kids, and to have like a stable family, to maybe sometimes get into the vacation, to buy your kids the new smartphone they want, of or some bullshit like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And that's the thing that made me really depressed, of the feeling that, yeah, the people, they don't want me, or not me, but people like me. I think the place just getting down and down, because what the only thing I could really achieve something big is if I would do the what's that name, the fucker called, Jordan Peterson, or Andrew Tate or something. I have like build like my man sphere, and like just profiting on the lonely man dollar, and just profiting on all the symptoms the people are getting of the big ill, just without actually addressing it, actually trying to motivate their people, using their big community to change something in this world, to yeah, because in the end, yeah, the Germans in the 1920s and 30s were also pretty upset, and that upsetness in the people was used to change something, to do something radical, because at that time it was asking for it. The people wanted it, and I think in the end, it's the joke we say about the Germans is, the German, they want to do the revolution, they want to do the radical thing. They just need someone to allow them. And yeah, I think that's saying a lot, probably for a lot of humans. Um, but yeah, in the end, nothing will happen, right? Because the yeah, the pressure. Oh, no, not the pressure. The stability of the system is too great and too global. It's just, yeah, I don't know. We drive ourselves into a shit, we are like into a hole we can't get out of it anymore. And we need like a world war or something, to change, to have change again. That's like my personal belief, that I wish, I hope that the revolution and the new world order it will be on an intellectual revolution, but it probably won't, because we see how tightened we are getting hold. Naja, man. Whatever, that was enough of me. Um, yeah, the nihilism. uh, yeah, I don't know, guys. Tell me your experiences, and I'll see you in the next one.